Welcome to the Chancellor Staff Excellence Award podcast. I'm Keith Miller, your host. Today we celebrate Jordan Graning, Food Services Supervisor for University Housing Dining Services. Jordan's keen attention to detail and strong leadership skills have been crucial in managing nearly 300 student staff and serving 2,000 meals daily at Ikenberry Dining Center. Jordan excels in identifying and addressing core issues and goes above and beyond, whether leading themed meals, decorating dining halls, or pitching in wherever is needed. Her dedication and professionalism make a significant impact on both her team and her customers.
My name is Jordan Graning, a CSEA award winner, and I am an Illinois professional.
Join us as we learn more about Jordan Graning's remarkable contributions. Welcome Jordan to the CSEA Award podcast. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you being here.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Could you start by telling us about your role as a food service supervisor and how long you've worked here at the university?
Absolutely. So a food service supervisor is responsible for both the front of house and aspects of the back of house in the dining halls, as well as the retail venues across campus within university housing. So on a daily basis, I'm making sure that everything is being washed properly from silverware and plates, and that our student employees have the tools they need to succeed and help our guests enjoy their experience to the best of my capabilities. I'm also helping manage and oversee our cooking staff, making sure that we have the product that we need on hand, and if anything comes up, communicating with the chef and other culinary aspects of it to make sure that everything is going to be produced like we need it to be.
That sounds like a huge task for such a large campus that we have. How big is your team in total?
So my team, I currently work at PAR. And I'm going to say about 25, maybe 30 full-time staff altogether. And then like our bigger units like Ikenberry, those are numbers closer to like 50, and that's full-time employees. And then student employees are a whole another aspect to that as well.
Yeah, so are you staffed based on how many students you have in that you serve? I guess that would kind of make sense.
Yes, and the facilities themselves are larger. So the ISR dining hall, it's really big, it's new, it's great, but it requires a lot more student employees to man all of the stations and that sort of thing. But I am the supervisor at PAR that is responsible for all the student employees. So once they're onboarded, they get sent to the dining hall. We train them. I work with them on their schedules. I do their payroll. And we have about 145 students at PAR when we're fully staffed at one time. So, a lot of that is, I would say we probably have about the same amount of student employees every meal period as we do full-time employees, if not more. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So what inspired you in the beginning? If you think back to when you first got into this, what do you think inspired you to pursue a career in food services, or did you kind of fall into the role? Could you tell us about your journey getting there?
Sure. So my dad owned a bar and restaurant growing up. So my first introduction to food service was at a very young age. I was like 13 or 14-year-old bussing tables.
Yeah.
And then once I finished some schooling at Parkland, I ended up getting a job with Jimmy John's at the corporate office, which is here in Champaign.
Oh, wow. I did not even know that. There's a corporate office here. Okay.
It was. I think it relocated once he sold. But so I worked there for about 5 years, and that was, I wasn't actually working in the stores. I was training managers on how to own and operate their business. So it was very people-oriented. Like there was the food service aspect, but then it was also like mentorship and training and developing people. Yeah. So when I started at the U of I 6 years ago, the student program, I kind of gravitated towards that anyways, because a lot of that is kind of helping our college students. They're not in college to work at the dining halls, but there are skills that we can teach them, like time management and food safety, that you can use for the rest of your life. Exactly. So we have student coordinators who are basically the first level of management. And they oversee, they help manage all the rest of the students on the shift. Yeah. And so those students I really enjoy working with, because I can give them kind of leadership advice and those sorts of things that travel through more than just food.
Exactly.
So.
You can't be everywhere at one place. So you have these students kind of like RAs, or, what's the other one above an RA? Is
RDs.
RDs, yeah, that kind of do the same thing, where they go out and manage other people. So that's really cool. Good perspective to have coming into the university, having shown people how to run their own business and make it, successful. That's cool. So managing a huge team, and you serve thousands. I mean,
Yes.
is it, how often do you serve, like thousands of meals daily, thousands of meals per week? Like what is your overall, like, how many meals are you putting out?
The last statistic that I was made aware of, I believe it's about 10,000 meals a day across the dining halls.
Oh my.
Yes. Back a couple years ago when I was at Ikenberry, every Tuesday night, our average number was 2,400 students in one dinner service.
Wow.
Yes. So Mondays at PAR, we serve about 1,500 students every dinner. And for perspective on that, we only seat just under 500. So we're doing a full dining room flip 3 times in the service. So.
That is impressive.
Yes.
That is impressive. I know you kind of spoke to how you have the people you can go to and kind of disseminate the, information or manage other people. But how do you keep that running smoothly? I just can't imagine the scale of such a large operation. How do you manage that?
It is definitely difficult at times, and sometimes we have lower staffing numbers. COVID really took a hit on the food industry in general. Yeah. And, we're bouncing back from that. We have some good leadership in place. Our director and assistant director are relatively new to their roles within the last few years. And there's just been a lot of focus on communication, consistency, and really just putting everything forward. At the end of the day, all of our staff come together and serve our students the best we can. Yeah. Just like anything with customer service, there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be issues, but the biggest thing to take into perspective is that, the students are living here. They're living here. Exactly. They have to eat with us. Yep. And I think that we show up every day for that. There's other things that are more difficult to manage, but we get through. Just communicate and keeping in mind that we're all kind of a family. I see my work people more than I see my husband some days. Yeah. So,
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so how do you and your team make the dining halls a welcoming place for everyone?
Yeah, so I try to treat it just like I do with my staff, right? I want my staff to feel welcome and included at work. Yeah. And then that kind of filters through. So it's a little bit of leadership by example, but also taking the time. I've done a lot of work personally and professionally on learning about different cultures, all kinds of different things that can give me the tools to make everyone feel welcome. Just there's a lot of cultural differences, and that's a beautiful thing about the university. Yep. It's and it gives us the opportunity to learn. So, making sure that the staff feel comfortable bringing concerns to me or to our management team, and that they're going to get answered, and that it's going to be dealt with on professionally, and that. And that trickles through. Like we have full-time staff that at PAR we do the walk station, Sky Garden. So it's build your own stir fry. It's made to order right in front of you. Yeah. And we have one employee who every single day is just chatting up the students while the fire is flying up, and he's talking to them. And at the end of the year they always come back and they're like, Dre, we want to take a picture with you before we leave. Yeah. So just really continuously reminding our staff, our student employees that. Our students live here. This is home. This is a second home for everyone. And food is a place where everyone can come together. Cultures meet, and we just try and drive that home, whether it's in the decorations that we put out during seasons of the year to just how we treat our guests and customers and one another with respect. Yeah. So our chefs do a wonderful job. We do have one chef that oversees all the dining halls, and it's usually kind of a small committee where they decide on what the menus are going to be and all of that, and then they communicate that to the halls, and then we kind of take it from there and we kind of make it our own. So we have Latin Hispanic Heritage Month coming up. Yes. And we try and be mindful of all of the different things going on all the time and make it a fun experience. Lunar New Year is one that is really you see a lot of reactions from students when they come in and we're decorated for Lunar New Year. It's they feel a little piece of home. So we kind of, it's a collaboration.
So that's what I was going to ask. You really take aspects from a lot of different cultures and try to blend that into not only the meals that you serve, but in the decorations that you put up.
Absolutely.
Around that. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's such a fun job. I'm so jealous of that. That is cool.
Coming in for a theme meal this year.
Yeah, I would love to, honestly. So you talked about putting up the decorations. Do you have a favorite project or favorite decor that you've put out throughout the years?
That's a good question. So
Yeah.
I love Halloween. It's just spooky season. I'm one of those girls. But so when I came to PAR, they had a lot of haunted decorations. There's like a little zombie guy. It's like half of a guy. And the first year I was there, I moved him every couple of days. And I would scare BSWs who were cleaning the floors, or like students. I had him in the ice cream cooler one year.
They would just pop it out.
Students would go to grab an ice cream and it was in there. So that's something that's fun. But the first year that I went to PAR, the Black History Month decorations were kind of outdated.
Yep.
And so I got together with some of my student coordinators and student employees, and I was like, look, it's already Black History Month, but I want to do something that's not just these posters. Everybody chime in on someone that you think is like important to you in like for Black History Month, right?
Exactly.
Even if it's not historical, even if it's someone now who's making history.
Yep.
And we made a person, and we gave her natural hair. It was gorgeous. And then, but she was made of a collage of all of the faces of the names of people that were submitted. So it was kind of cool. So it was really personal to like our dining hall. So our full-time employees, our student employees contributed. This person, has made an impact on me. And so that was really cool.
That's so special. That is so special. Oh, that's such a cool project. So thinking about your day-to-day, and I know you said, sometimes you're stepping in, what does your day-to-day look like from start to finish?
So, well, you're asking me this in August. So right now I feel like a firefighter. We're putting out fires.
Students that just came back on campus to give all the audience some preface on what's happening. They literally yesterday was moving. This is moving week, so it's busy. Yeah.
Yes, it is. But honestly, like on a day-to-day basis, there's a lot of routine, 30 minutes prior to any of our service times is when the food needs to be out so that we can make sure that the quality is there, that everything is functioning properly, that the presentation is there. Every single day I check in, I check our absence emails and handle any absences, whether that's full-time employees or student employees, and then shifting our game plan if we need to modify what we have planned for the day because of that lack of a person, or if someone else can help do some of that work. Those are the main things that are handled every single day. And then you have random, I'll be on hiring committees, so I might have to go to an interview, decorating, those sorts of things. But basically a day-to-day is showing up, helping people solve problems, and then there are certain time frames in my day that are dedicated to my tasks.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool. So I know we've talked about a bunch, but what do you think sets your role apart? What do you think are some unique aspects of your job that set yours apart from others, that make your job unique?
Giving me the hard questions.
I know,
today. One thing I really appreciate about my job is that although I am a member of management, and so I get to see a little bit into that world, into more of the bigger decision makers, and I collaborate with them and I speak with them. We really do work on the ground level with our full-time employees and our students like every single day, and we can use that opportunity to amplify those voices. Yeah. So I see that sometimes we fail on that, or sometimes we could do better, but I also have seen, especially in recent years, like managers really speaking up in the right way and communicating effectively. Hey, we are having these problems, and I know that it's kind of been addressed, but it's just not working. Yep. And so I would say what's most unique is that we're right in that perfect spot to be change makers. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Catalysts.
Yes,
yeah, that's
absolutely
awesome. Do you have a day that you felt most proud to be an Illinois professional?
I would say that last year, convocation, which is when all of our new students that are new to the university, it's like this big welcome back meeting, and they get a lot of information about what to expect, and then they break out and meet with their colleges. Well, dining actually feeds everyone that comes out of convocation. So we're looking at that coming up this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Today's Thursday.
Yes.
Tomorrow's
Yep.
Friday.
Yep.
It comes up tomorrow. And last year, I think the number was just around 8,000 people. And we feed them like within an hour. It's like 20 buffet lines. And I have a lot of proud moments, but it definitely, it's one of those days that like I was worn out by the end of it, but we succeeded. We even overcame some obstacles that popped up that day, and we had to scramble. And dining is really good at just making sure the product and what we put out is there, no matter how hard it is for us to get to that point. But it was a really nice day, like looking around all of our student coordinators. They all come and they work that shift, and all the new students. It's something to really look at. And we took like videos of it and looking back and watching 8,000 people go through a tent that you helped like man
Seriously.
and feed.
Oh my goodness.
And it was like done in an hour. And you just know that all those months of planning like were worth it, and all the meetings that you attended and all the little details you tried to work out. So
it's definitely a kickoff for them, but it's also a kickoff for you and your staff and all of dining services.
We're pretty proud to do it. So
that's great. So thinking back to, I know it's been a few months now, but how did you find out that you were nominated and then won the CSEA award?
It's actually a funny story. I logged into my computer and I got an email that said, "Hey, congratulations! Like you won this award." And there's this, and I kind of looked at my coworker and I said, does this say what I think it says? Like I had no idea. I was kept in the dark. It was a coworker who nominated me, and then later to find out there were some additional like submissions. And people who spoke on my behalf from my supervisor and people who supervised me before, worked with me before. I was really, really humbled. And my nominator actually, right after that, got promoted to being a supervisor. So that was like extra special because I knew that time and effort that I had like put in to that person, because I saw their potential and like their abilities. Now they're reaping those benefits and they get to be a change maker. And that was how I learned about it. And it was I asked my coworker, I was like, does this say what I think it says? What is that? I don't even know what that means.
Did I win?
What? Hold on. What is this? So it was really, really special moment.
That's awesome. Well, hey, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you being here, and thanks for chatting.
Thanks. Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Illinois Professional. If interested in nominating somebody for a campus staff award, there's a link in the description for more information. And be sure to follow @IllinoisHR on Twitter for inspirational and informational posts.